Leos, hello, welcome. Welcome to your horoscope, your monthly forecast for March 2013. What is happening during this month of March? Well, there is a distinction between the beginning of the month and the end of the month. So the first 2 weeks of the month is more feminine, more contemplating, more receptive energy. And then the second time of the month is really more a month of action, a month of energy and a month of fire. So let's have a look how all this is applying for Leos. Now, the beginning of the month is very much a continuation of what happened at the very end of February. So what I said in the forecast there in February is very much applying again for the beginning, especially up until the 11th or the 12th of March. So there is still this stellium in Pisces in your 8th house that is really very important of a highlight of your 8th house. And I really say highlight because even on the 11th of the month there is a new moon in there, which is the moon and the sun together, and it's 7 planets in Pisces, so it's really overdoses. Overdoses of the Piscean energy in the 8th house, the house of transformation, the house of your fears, the house of intimacy, the house of taboos, the house also of money of other people. So all these areas of life are very much still highlighted, even more than in February. And this energy is an energy of that a lot of people experience as confusing, but especially if you're someone who's very much a control person, and if you're someone who very much lives here in the head, which I think Leos don't. Leos are most Leos are people from the heart, and they really do what their heart is saying. But if you are someone who's really living in the head and really that could be a period that is very fluid and confusing for you. Why? Because Mercury, the planet of communication and the planet of thinking, is going retrograde in that area of your life, and also in Pisces. It really doesn't know very well what to do in Pisces land because it wants to structure things, and Pisces is not a sign of structure. It's a sign of surrender. It's well, not surrender, but it's a sign of trust and allowing that the knowing that the outcome will be good even if you don't know what the outcome will be. So this is very much on a collective level, but for you on this particular level of the 8th house. So if you allow that, that there is this path that you're taking, this intention that you have, but with not much specification around it, then you can really broaden your perspective. And with broadening that perspective, you will feel way more fulfilled. And that is a very positive thing about this Pisces energy. So the Mercury won't last forever staying retrograde. It goes direct on the 17th. So anything that has to do with that area of life is going to become clearer around the 17th more and more. So a lot of you Leos are working on an inner level, and a level that is unseen, and a level that is quite private, but very good to focus on that during the first 10-11 days of the month. Now it shifts, this energy, it shifts to a way more active part of your chart, and also a way more active energy. Mars on the 12th is going into Aries. It really likes it in there. It's very active, and it's in your 9th house. That is very good news to be able to tap into this energy. What is the 9th house? It's the house of the bigger picture. It's the house of higher consciousness. It's the house of knowing that every little thing has its place. that everything falls into place. It's a house of connecting with the divine or with your higher self, if you don't believe that there is a God. So, and with having Mars in there, you could become very active with not only with studying or how you're studying. Maybe it's very good period if you are a student, with all that energy coming into your 9th house. It could also be the case that you are going to travel, and if you do so, it will be very good for you, for broadening your view, and it will be very good for be active around that period of time, but also enjoying, you know, the different culture, the beauty of another country. Because the sun, which is your ruler, is also going to shift on, you know, the day of equinox. The 21st of March is spring for the northern hemisphere, or fall in the southern hemisphere. So there's a big change, and there's this feeling of freshness when it comes to your higher mind and when it comes to your plans and your visions, which is quite important for all the other areas of your life. So you're doing a lot considering these 8th and 9th house stuff. So with your ruler in there in the 9th house, it's definitely a good time to get in touch with people from abroad, or with people who have different kind of background. It's a good time to study. It's a good time to anything that broadens the mind, basically. Another thing that is happening is that the Pluto-Uranus square is activated again. So of course you're not a cardinal sign, you are a fixed sign. So the cardinal signs will have more challenges with that. But for you, for Leo, it's happening in that 9th house where Uranus is. And it's squaring up to your 6th house, so where Pluto is. So what does this all mean? As from the 23rd of the month up until the end of the month, this Pluto-Uranus square is triggered again. Now Pluto-Uranus is always on the background for the whole year. It's always in an aspect with each other. Pluto in Capricorn in your 6th, and Uranus in Aries in your 9th house. So it only becomes very much into the picture when faster planets activated. And this is the case as from the 23rd. Mars is going to conjunct Uranus, and after that Venus comes in together with Venus and the Sun. So your ruler are also going to connect with Uranus. So Uranus is all about sudden changes, sudden insights, sudden shifts, sudden awareness, and with Pluto it's about transformation as well. So particularly around the end of the month. So any part of you that needs to be shifted from old to new, and for you it probably has to do a lot with that 9th house stuff that I just talked about, is coming to a fruition, because this square is also highlighted by a full moon, because this full moon in Libra the full moon in Libra in your 1, 2, 3rd house is activating that square. So that's on the 27th to the 28th of March, that full moon. It's all about the way you think, I guess, because that full moon is in your 3rd house, the lower thinking, you could say, and the sun in the 9th is in your 9th house, which is in its joy. According to traditional astrology, the sun really loves it there, to shine in the 9th house, because it's also a very fiery house. And so you are going to shine your lights upon that, upon your point of view towards other people's point of view, about you are going to, with that moon in the 3rd house, it's also in its element there, moon in the 3rd house. So it's really much reflecting your knowledge and applying it on a very day-to-day basis, which is very good. It could have to do with work as well, that you are really into making a change when it considers your way, the way that you think, and that applies to all areas of your life. The 9th house is a very important house for that, because a lot of activity starts in the 9th house. You think about it, you have an idea about it, and it affects all other houses, relationships, work, etc. So another important thing is that this full moon is not just a full moon, it's also conjuncting a fixed star. Now, fixed stars are used in horary astrology, but they're also meaningful when they're hitting a particular point or a conjunction with a planet. And in this case, the moon is in Libra on 6-7 degrees of Libra, and that's bang on the fixed star Vindhya matrix, which is all about separation, which is all about shifting. It tunes in very well with this Pluto-Uranus energy about leaving back the old and going towards the new. It's that something really needs to happen there in order for you to make that change. So you did a lot of work in the beginning of the month and in February around the changes that you need to make and that you're a bit afraid of. And it seems that this all comes to a fruition around the end of the month, especially around the 27th and the 28th. And it could come quite instantly and quite quickly because Uranus is involved. And Uranus is conjuncting your ruler, the sun. So sudden things can happen and you can really get on a higher level, you know, on a bit upwards, the spiral. And that is good. It also has an impact on the 6th house because Pluto is in there in the 6th house, which is work, our day-to-day work, or even your health. So maybe as well you want to change something, or there needs to be changed something, and you're going to see that and you're going to take action. Or because Pluto really demands to change that in your 6th house. So it's a month where so much things are happening for all the signs, but also for you in those, for you Leos in these particular areas of life, because your ruler is simply involved. So expect that this later part of the month is going to be way more exciting probably than the beginning of the month. But of course it's a general horoscope. On that note, I wish you all the best, you Leos. Wish you a good month for the month of March, and see you next month. Bye bye.